Hello and welcome to Forging the Characters. I'm Shaun, your Forgemaster, and today I'll be showcasing what Hero Forge can do when it comes to making character minis, walking you through ways to use advanced techniques and other tricks and tips in the character builder. Today I'm working on the minis for the upcoming campaign, A Fell Tide Rising, which I will be DM. It will launch on the 23rd of August at 6 PM at twitch.tv/RollTogetherRPG. I'm very excited to be making the minis for you today, as this is the first chance I've had to work on forging the characters since the layered clothing was extended to the lower half, so expect to see me playing around with that a lot. The minis that I'm making for the show today are a mix of pre-made minis and requests to build from scratch. As always, I'm looking to tweak these models or try out something new or unusual in order to make each Hero Forge mini unique from one another. Let's get forging. I'm going to get started with Asherah, Asherah Cassidy, who is played by Chrissy. Asherah is a half-elf fighter, a gunslinger, so look forward to that. Chrissy has made this model, so there's not too much for me to really do, although she did say that she wants an aiming the gun pose, and this is the kind of pugilistic pose, and this other arm kind of looks a little bit out of place. I kind of wish it was doing something. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a look in the poses gallery, see if I can find something that just maybe has a bit more confidence to it, and go from there. I'm not going to go too far down the list because it's a bit like a Google search. You go too far down and they get less and less like your search terms. So I actually spotted this one, which I think, that's basically what I was looking for anyway. So why go too far? So that's by Never Nup Here. Never Knew Fear. Never Knew Fear? I think it's a pun. So we're going to go down here to the bit of the screen that my face obscures. We're going to go to import, which is a pro feature. Well worth getting the pro subscription if you can, just for this. And this isn't all you get either. I could go on, but I won't. Click pose because that's all we want to bring in. And obviously because they're armed with the other hand, we'll just have to kind of flip that around to get the same look that Chrissy was going for. I'll just need to kind of swap that around, but that's not going to take too long. So first things first, we've got our nice confident pose, but we do want maybe the wrist to be a bit stronger, so we'll bring that up. And then this hand wants to be doing something else, so I will... I'm aware that Asherah should also have a rapier, which is probably discussed after the model was made. So what I think I'll do is I'll bring in a rapier onto the hip, and then do the old resting our hand on the rapier pose. I'm tempted to do some trickery and bring in some extra daggers anyway, so. So anyone who's watched this show for long enough will know that I can't stand clipping. So I've fixed the shoulder so that doesn't clip through the hair anymore. However, I have noticed this bandana, which there's not a lot I can necessarily do about it, but I do have an idea that might fix it. So I'm going to give it a go, at least see if, it's okay if it clips through once, but it kind of does quite a bit, particularly on this side. So I'm going to try some horn posing, see if I can make that look like the bandana. I think at this point I'm just going to have to admit defeat. I'm struggling to get the horns to look like they're emerging from the same place as the bandana. So all I'm really doing is trading one type of clipping for another. Sometimes you try things and they don't work. Okay, I've got another idea. It might be lunacy, but it might well work, so let's give it a go. Realised I've jumped the gun a bit, pun intended. I hadn't quite gotten around to doing this arm, which is going to cause me some issues, so I need to fix that before I can pull in another Asherah. Okay, here's where the madness comes in. I've now overlaid 2 Asherahs. One of the things I plan on doing is jiggling the daggers around so we can have 2 on one side. I think that'd be quite cool. The other thing that might fix the bandana, I'm going to remove the hair on the second head. I'm going to try and tilt the neck backwards to put the bow where we want it, and then I'll use the non-clipping bandana on the original. So let's see what that does. Just wanted to see what that would look like. I always see people combining hairstyles, and it's pretty cool. I'm not going to stick with it. It's pretty cool. So the last thing that Chrissy did just mention is maybe just to make the scars look a little bit older, because at the moment they look quite fresh. There we go. Remove the daggers, got rid of the clipping in the hair, resting the arm there, and even the gold is quite nicely placed. There we go. Okay, I'm going to be moving on to Ed's character now, Lean Quist. Lean Quist is a Harangon. Right. A Haragon rogue / barbarian. So I've got some notes. I'm going to be building from scratch, so I'm just going to jump straight in and we'll stop and talk about stuff as we get there. So I'm just choosing which hood to use, and I'm thinking that a lot of these are just obscuring the face a little bit too much. That one's not too bad, but I'd quite like, as they are a Harangon, to try and show the ears being kind of folded down and around, and I'm not sure that any of the options really give us enough visibility. It's kind of ridiculous. Kind of give us enough visibility of under the hood. So I think this one, although it obscures the eyes, which is a shame, I think that's probably going to be the one that suits the best. Obviously, Ed, if you don't like it, we'll just go without a hood, I guess. I'm going to move on to the pose. Now, Ed asked for a kind of stern, crossed arms pose. Now, I have made poses like that before, so that's definitely an option. But I think I'm going to see what's in the APR. I'm sure someone's done crossed arms. So we've got a few. I think I'm going to go for this one with the very strong looking character. So, as always, in order to import, you look at the place in the bottom of the screen where you can't see because my face is there. Click the little arrow, and then you want import. And then that will bring you through to this one. Now, I'm hoping it's not going to undo my posing. Good, it didn't. There's always a little bit of stuff to fix when you import pose. Like it's clearly for a very broad character, and I'm trying to avoid being too broad. But I think for the most part, that's actually going to have the desired effect. So, exit. There is obviously a little bit of clipping, but it's such a tight pose that I think you kind of get away with it. I think I may need to pick some different gloves because that transitions and it's nice as I'd like it to be. I think this might just be a whole thing with the shields. I'm not going to find one that's close into the body. So I think in the name of getting a mini that kind of looks as sleek as possible, I won't include the shield. Obviously, we do have a shield, but it's one of those cases of it's in the backpack. If this were a video game. Of course, now I do need to adjust the ping. I'm going to go into painting. So, I know that not everyone likes to do this. I like to use the default settings when picking my colours, just because for me it makes sure that you're going to have as few unpainted areas as possible. And, I go through and I change everything, but it groups things as well. So the trouble with this hood is that it is making it difficult to see the eyes. Now, I've kind of focused them in as if he's kind of staring down someone very close. They are closing down. Looking at someone very close to them. But it's not quite showing enough of the iris, so I'm going to reduce the iris size. And hopefully that just gives us a little bit to work. So I do like this blue. I want to use it as a kind of bit of spot colour, dotted around. I think that's a little bit too much, so I'm going to make a copy. I'm going to just use the copy on gloves, and then I'm going to just make them a little bit darker. I think one last thing I'm going to try before I give up on the whole shield thing. I'm going to do my old faithful 2 minis and 1 base trick. I've saved handily the body only glitch, which I'm going to import, and then I'm going to give that the shield and hide it inside Quist. See if it works. Okay, there we go. 1 lean Quist. Alright, I'm moving on to Stagnatius. Stagnatius is played by Liz, and Stagnatius is a dragonborn wizard of the Transmutation School. Now, I think that Liz has done a great job colouring the mini and posing the mini using one of the standard poses, and kind of really shows how, you know, you can make great minis without doing all of the fancy tricks and things that, you know, that I do. Like, there's, you know, there's a little bit of clipping here, but you can kind of explain that away as being caught in the folds of clothing. And that got me thinking, like, how could I do a pose without using any of the tips and tricks that I promised that I would use? Just so that you know, can see that you don't have to be a Forgemaster to create great minis. You can make some really good ones just by tweaking the pose a little bit. Like, you can really do some great stuff. So I'm not going to be hiding any minis inside this mini. I'm not going to be using any extra arms. My plan is just to use the very basic kind of tweaking the pose and some decals to bring out some of the confidence of this transmutation trickster type character. Let's see how we go. So I switched the money pouch for the open bag of money. And now I'm just going to pose it so that it's held in front of them slightly more like that. As always, when you're posing arms, I think you should start from close to the body and then kind of move outwards. So the first thing I always make sure I do is make sure that my shoulder blades are in the right place. So that's the bottommost menu there. So I literally just bring it up a little bit and then forward, and then just getting that shoulder placement. Like, you want to kind of see where your shoulder would be. Like, I'm using my camera here just so that I can view it, but, you know, just have a look at your shoulder, make sure that that's in place, because the last thing you want is, like, you know, trying to that's not comfortable. No, that's where you want to be. So, next step, just bring a little bit more personality to the face. I like to make sure that there's at least something on all of the sliders, maybe apart from R, because that obviously is how wide your mouth is open. It's not always necessary, but at least kind of 0.5 on each of them. Just gives a little bit more personality, I feel, than just kind of blanket one emotion. So I've gone for largely cocky because confidence trickster sort of vibe. And then a little bit of snarl, just again, just tweak the eyes and give that. I don't know. In my head, I was thinking Shaun Locke. As soon as I adjusted the cocky and then the snarl, I was like, Dragon Shaun Locke. And just a little bit of confusion, just under the surface. And yeah, that I'm just going to have to tweak that so that you're not stabbing yourself in the tail. But I don't think that will take too long. One of my bugbears about any model really is when the tails just kind of emerge and they don't have an obvious exit. So I think I'll probably just lower it so the tail nicely comes out from that slit instead of emerging from the back. I wanted to try and keep some of that natural twist, but actually it's not quite going how I want it to. So if you're ever having trouble with tail posing, set everything as close to 0 as you can. Now I'm at an advantage here because I have the pro setting, so I can just adjust the number. If you're not a pro, you don't have that, but I find even when before I had access to this, I usually found that you can get it to 0.1 or 0.2, and that's close enough, at least for the purposes of resetting everything. And what we'll end up with is a nice straight tail, which we can then pose from scratch. Again, just try and bring in that natural curve, but starting from the point that we want it to be. There we go. Stock straight tail, which doesn't look natural, but it will at least aid us try and get those ridges right. There we go. So just a little bit of patience, just tweaking everything a little bit at a time. You can get your tail where you want it. And, there's a little bit of clipping there, but at least it kind of looks like it could follow the slit in the material. And then I decided to weave it the other way just to completely circumvent any issues with the sword. And then, you can see that
the imaginary hole in the back of the trousers the tail emerges from, and then just nicely weaves around the leg there, following a pretty delicate curve. Job done. So, things left to do. I'm just going to slightly puff these out. Again, very simple, just stop them from intersecting with the coat quite so much. And then I'm going to add a decal, which will bring this model to life, I think. I think I was happy with that as I'm going to be. Avoided too much clipping of the guard at the front, not too much clipping here, but also it's not so pushed out to the sides that we can get a little bit of that. That's not so good. Right, decals. By the way, here's a quick pro tip. If you hold down Alt and Shift, you can highlight which areas of the model are what colour in this orange. Of course, if you have it painted that particular orange, you're not going to notice the difference, but chances of that are fairly low, I would have thought. Another trick for finding colours that you don't want, so these are default decal colours, is to just paint an innocuous area in that colour. And then, so I always use the base, and then fill to change all of those areas. And then you can see that that colour disappears. So it's not quite popping as much as I wanted it to. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to take the shine off of the copper a little bit, and put some glow on the coins. There you have it. Confident transmutation wizard turning a bag of coppers into a bag of gold. I'm now going to tackle Ali's character, Lorana. Lorana is a Triton, I think, patterned in the style of a kind of a lionfish. And Ali sent over a ton of reference images, that sort of thing, for a lot of the items that he would like Lorana to have. One of the things that Ali also sent was a link for a model that he'd like me to base the character on, which is created by this person, Edward Lappage, from the Hero Forge Creators Guild Facebook group. So this is the model I will be adapting. In order to action a lot of the plans that I've got for Ali's character, I'm going to have to basically destroy the model and then reconstruct. So that's going to be fun. Hopefully it won't take me too long to do that, but I got these reference images anyway, and you can see it's largely for the patterning, which Ed's done a great job of using the decals to make the lionfish look. Basically what I want to do, one of the things that Ali requested was a shield in the shape of a conch shell. And my initial thought had been to use the shoulder pad that is a conch shell. However, you can't rescale those if it's on like a floating character. Glitch just doesn't work like that. So I'm going to try something slightly mad. And then the reason I have to destroy this is because it's on the XL base, which unfortunately can't be shared by 2 models on one base. So it's going to change all of the posing. That's my problem once I've built this conch shell. Wish me luck. So, I had a go at creating the shell of the shell with a cape, and it doesn't quite stretch long enough, so I'm going to have to do some other weird things to try and get it to match up with how I thought I might be able to get it. It's going to involve lots of hands, and in order to be able to tell which one's which, I'm just going to give each of them a slightly different feature. So I think actually flaming hands is going to be too close. So I think one of them will be these hands, just so I can keep track of which one's which. So I know I've got arms with fins, fire arms, 3-fingered arms, and we can try and make this shell look a bit more shell-like. I'm getting there. I've managed to make a kind of shell-like area. Computer's struggling now. Out of the spiny dinosaur tail. So now I'm going to try and re-angle the back so that I can put the cape that I've already modelled to cover the other section. See how that goes. It's really kind of looking like a shell now. Just need to hide some of these external bits. So, realised I made a slight error. I was going to use the third arm for some reason, and I realised I wouldn't be able to do the clavicle if I could do that. So, switched over. I'm not using any of the third arms at the moment, but I'm leaving them on just in case that breaks anything. I'm 100% sure I like the spine shield, so I might see if I can get away with swapping in a different one. Hopefully it will keep my posing. Quite like that. Right, now to colour this beast. Right. There's our shell. I think I'll have to have a break before I move on to Lorana. So, yeah. For you, it'll be a second. But for me, I'm going to have a drink. Okay, I am back. I'm refreshed and ready to go with Lorana, finishing off the pose of the actual character themselves. So, unfortunately, as I explained last time, I'm going to have to completely change the pose because with the XL base, I can't add in an extra character. So once I get rid of the base, it's going to change the pose because they're obviously not going to be on this nice scenic base anymore. Meaning all the tail posing, the wings, everything's going to change. But I've got the images from Edward's original post, so I can see what the intention was for everything. I just need to do a load more tail posing, I guess. Here we go.
So I want a pose that's going to show off the shield, seeing as we spent so long making it. So I think this is going to give us the right sort of look. Now, obviously, I can't tell what height they're going to be, and I know that bringing in that second model is going to really slow things down. So I'm hoping to do that last, but I reckon as long as I just keep the arm fairly relaxed, I should be able to do that. So the wing's obviously pretty static, and we've got some stuff here, but I think it's just going to have to be fixed by the tails. I don't want to spend too long on that because I might end up having to shift the arm around anyway. Yeah, let's get to the tails then. So you might wonder what I'm doing, just setting everything as high as I can get it. Looking at the original pictures, it looks to me like the tails have been slightly... they're not quite as long out as they could be. So I think that what Edward must have done is coiled them around a bit to shorten the length and just not quite have them poking out so much. So that is what I'm doing. I am coiling them round in order to shorten the length. Very shortly I should be at the sort of length that I want, and I can start posing for real. Okay. We've managed to get the tail and the wings more or less where we want them. That's going to depend largely on what happens with the arms and weapons. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to change the clothing and weapons for ones which Lorana's supposed to be wielding. So I really like this colour, but the brief is for it to be more like coral. So I'm going to make it not metal. Okay, moment of truth. See whether my computer can cope with having the shell and Lorana on the same base at the same time. So, I think I've more or less got the positioning where I want. I just really did want that arm to kind of sit in that section of the shell, seeing the shields there. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to very slightly lengthen the arms. There we go. One Lorana armed with ridiculously large shell shield. Okay, confession time. When I made the model for Lola's character, as of yet unnamed, I'm not telling anything, the internet hags must have had gotten their backs up. Not sure what I did to offend them, but I looked back, having completed my my recording, and it hadn't been recording. I don't know if my thing crashed or what, but yeah, that was upsetting. I had to go out for a walk with my wife. However, she came up with a brilliant idea of filming myself destroying the model and then reversing it. So that is what we're going to watch right now. In fact, it is playing. This is what we're watching, and this is the commentary. This is the director's cut of the reversed destruction of the model that I made. Don't worry, I have made a copy. I'm not thick. But here we go. So you can see the model in front of you is an approximation of what Lola gave to me.
So Lola's good at Hero Forge and started off building the model for the character that they wanted. However, we've hit a bit of a stumbling block. So what they were going for this character was some lobster or crab-like claws. However, there's nothing really like that in Hero Forge at the moment. So they used these fire hands. So the first thing that I did when I wanted to create some crab claws is first get the shoulder blades in place, because that's very important when you're multi-arm posing. You have to make sure that you are your clavicles are in the right place, because all of the other arms don't get their own separate shoulder blades. You've got to build it off the same thing. So I reposed those arms, and you can see here that I've added a scabbard to the back. That is because not only do I need to obviously decide what the claw arms are going to be doing, I also need a pose for the main set of arms. So being a fighter, I decided on a kind of readying for battle. So Lola's character, as you can see, has 2 pairs of arms. I was going to say 4 arms. Everyone's got 4 arms. You can see that Lola's character has got these extra arms, and these are actually kind of hidden under a cloak. So my plan was to show the character throwing the cloak off, and with the other arm drawing a sword. So this is the good thing about watching a destruction video reversed instead of watching a sped up making of. You don't have to watch all of the tedious tweaking. I mean, I did a little bit of tedious tweaking just to make the impression of me making the model, but it's not me making the model. I just spent quite a bit of time trying to work out which sword was the best for this scabbard. It took me longer than I would have liked to work out that I didn't need it to be an actual long sword. In fact, the shorter the blade, the more I could cheat it being inside the scabbard. So this is actually a gladius, I want to say. I mean, you can see it now. It's clearly a lot shorter than the scabbard. And then there was me doing some fake, I'm trying to pose it, but I'm not, I'm destroying it. And yeah, you can see that there was a little bit of posing in the wrist, had to obviously get the elbow, but managed to get it nicely lined up. So it does look like they're grabbing the sword and about to draw it out. And that obviously affects the posing of the next set of arms. Now this is where we get into the technical stuff. I realized that I wasn't going to be able to do what I wanted to do with only one set of arms. So I added the full complement, 3 pairs of arms, 2 of which are going to be hidden inside the middle pair. You can see that in order to create the claw, I decided on one of the set of arms to have a dagger sheath. So you can see that in the right hand at the moment. And we're just working out now what to do about the rest. So yeah, I decided to keep the flaming hands just as a little bit of extra misdirection about what the actual items are forming this this lobster claw. So yeah, here you can see me deciding how to hold the dagger sheaths. You can see that, so that's going to form the kind of lower thumb, the thumb of the claw. It's not a thumb, but you know, I don't know what the technical term is. And then you can see me looking through to work out what on earth to do for the palm bit, the crushing bit, the right in, if you know what it's called. And I decided on boxing gloves. That's a weird choice, you might think, but hopefully you'll agree that the final product works. I think it did. Otherwise I would have just remade it, and I didn't do that.
So yeah, you can see that I have kept the arms separate just so that you can see which one's which. But you can just see in the bottom corner a little sneak peek of what it might end up looking like once I zoom out. Or we're moving. Oh, but we're hiding it again. It's getting sneaky. So you can see I've also decided to have some gauntlets on the hands again, just as a bit of extra misdirection, to make it look more like carapace kind of elements. And there's a bit of decision making over which ones to do, all faked, obviously, because I was just removing them. I wasn't putting them on. And we went for those kind of scaly ones again, for that kind of look of I don't know, not uniform straight edges as it would be with armor plates, but something a bit more organic. Again, just to throw things out. And you can see that far right arm as well. Sorry, not a far right arm. The arm which is further away. Anyway, you can kind of see it. I've missed it. I've blathered through it. But you've got a sneak peek of what this arm is going to look like, and we're going to see as we move it around. We're going to have to move that lower hand as well to make sure that looks a bit more like it, or maybe we don't. And now you can see what I'm going to do the throwing off of the cloak. So obviously the cloaks are always attached to a back. So in order to have a model throwing the cloak off, we had to have another back. So I've brought in the torsoless glitch, which I always have one of those floating around. I went for the hairy torso because I decided to use the furry cloak. Again, just misdirection, because if I figured that the non-furry cloaks would be a little bit more difficult to get away with hiding a body inside. That sounded a lot more nefarious than I intended it to. And again, just kind of dressing it up to give it elements that look like lining to a cloak. And I added a decal as well. Again, misdirection, just to kind of give it some more colours. And furry shoulder doodads as well. One thing that I did find, which was a little bit annoying, is that you can't resize the shoulder pads on the torso only glitch, probably because resizing shoulder pads was not a thing at that time. So yeah, you can't resize shoulder pads, which I was going to just do a resized shoulder pad for Ali's model. I thought that would be much easier than scratch building a shell, but wasn't able to do it. This rotating is mostly just to show you what I've done. I'm not actually doing anything here. You can see that I've added a scarf. Again, that's to disguise the neck, because it is a headless torso. So, So yeah, now what we have is I've got to pose the model to try and get it so that it looks like the cloak is being thrown off. So there's going to be a little bit of straining while we work out quite where to put that. And you can see I'm trying to get it so that the models both fit on the base as best as possible and give the pose we want. So you can see the cloak has now been placed in the hand now. And the cape has been moved a little bit so that it will hide the body. And now we're going for some dark browns, again, just to hide it. And here's something that I'm showing for the first time, is if you want to know where you've used a colour, you hold down Alt and Shift and you hover over that colour and it will go a bright orange. So unless you've used that very specific bright orange as the colour, there will hopefully be a difference in the model that you're looking at, and you can see because the browns went bright orange, just to show which ones were which. And we've got a glimpse now of the boxing glove claws. Not much to look at the moment, I admit, because it still looks like boxing gloves, but once they're coloured, you will see that they become a bit more of a cohesive thing. So here I am undeleting the colours for the base. Everyone who knows me would know that I would have actually started off by going to colour and selecting a theme, just because it means that there isn't any grey left over anywhere. But for a reverse deleting video, this is how I roll. And yeah, you can see I'm undeleting a variety of colours here. I did do some fine tuning of a couple of colours as well, just to give, to make it a little bit closer to some of the reference images that Lola provided me with. I can't remember if when I recorded this, did a little bit of untweaking the colours. I probably didn't. I don't think I did. So that torso was probably more of a silver, but we tweaked it down to a bit more dark. I thought I was doing it. I wasn't doing it. And yeah, so next up we'll be seeing me deciding what colour to undelete for the gloves. Going to go for 2 colours, I think. Not the traditional red crabs, like one that's just been cooked, but more of a purpley or lobstery blue, like a deep sea crab, just to suit the original model's kind of skin tones. There you have it. This is the model that I wish you could have watched me make, in bright orange in places. Just showing off now. You can see that I've tweaked some colours there, like the scabbard there. That's actually from a red, one of the basic Hero Forge colours. I always forget what it's called, the leather one that's red. But I wanted it to be blue, so it's now blue. If I watch the video, maybe I'll even be able to tell, but I didn't. Oh, titanium, that's what I used for the body. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and I guess I will see you next time for the next campaign. So until then, happy forging.